All right, we're back live with you tonight on In Focus. Let's stay with matters on the build-up to the 2024 national elections. And I'm joined now by ANC NEC member Thembi Nkadimeng. Good to have you, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, and good evening to our listeners.
Let's start first with this so-called leaking of the candidate list. I mean, it's information that's supposed to be public anyway. What was the whole thing about the secrecy of it?
Then we could submit in public.
Why didn't you submit in public?
No. There wouldn't be an IEC. There wouldn't be a structured a government entity that is entitled. I mean, on top of POPIA Act, which is very wrong, to just disclose information, to an extent of disclosing identity document of a state president.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand that aspect of things, of IDs and whatnot.
Gazettes and all that. Yeah. I don't think really a name. Remember, when we get inaugurated, it gets to be opened, and that's the time. So it's not necessarily that it's a secret. It's a process which needs to be respected by a body, which is it's just like when you finish counting at VT1, you release the results. No, you await. You feed into the system. You can't leak. It's wrong. Forget the ID numbers. The intention of the act is to ensure that processes are followed.
Yes.
Yes, and the ICC is a custodian.
I understand that. I understand the question of the IEC process. But what I'm saying is that the candidate list itself is information that should be available to the public that is meant to vote for you. You want to take them by surprise
on
the day of inauguration and so this is the one that we are putting.
There's no surprise. I'm sure you could have asked the ANC, it would have been willing to give you a list. The question here is the IEC the body that is supposed to release information that is supposed to be kept? It's given this information on the basis of its position, respect, authority in society, as an institution that's supposed to lead a credible system towards elections.
Yeah.
To have a list, the extended NEC said all the important people who makes up a list in our organization at least were part of that process. And there could have been, you could have requested the SG, can we talk about people who are on the list where you're able to do that?
He was anyway going to make available.
That's not the board, yes, that's not the body, that's my point. IEC is not the body that is supposed to release information of another. So this is information of a second party. They are the first party, they don't even consult the second party, which is my party in this instance. They don't even respect the privacy. And actually, the law of South Africa, which says you need to get consent on private details of another person before you release them.
So are you following up on that? Are you
following up? It's wrong.
Yes.
It's wrong. Yes. I saw other parties as well lists. It's not necessarily, at least I saw a list of another party, which also is a list, I assume, coming from the IEC. I hope they also take it up. It's wrong. It could be at a debate level where you say to me, as an NEC member, SG, or whoever, president of the ANC, where is your list, who are in there? And then you have a discussion with me. And I'm sure it will be on the basis of what we're letting go and as an organization on behalf of those people.
So
but I don't think
let's move right there. I mean, it's said that 97 candidates would have been flagged by the Integrity Commission, and of the 97, only 4 really are left out. The rest are all in there, having gone through the process. But it's a long process, right? The process starts in 2015. The NEC...
I'm glad you understand that the process is not an event.
Yeah.
It's long.
Yeah.
And a law of natural justice says take Thabo through a process that is intense,
right,
and it arrives at a conclusion to deal with the issue.
But let me understand, how does it move from the step-aside rule in 2015 that says those who are charged of serious crimes and corruption, those who are alleged to be involved, particularly who are cited in the Zondo Commission, should firstly present themselves to the Integrity Commission.
I think the understanding was also not correct.
Listen to me. They present themselves to the Integrity Commission, right? Not all of them went and presented themselves to the Integrity Commission. It moved from the Integrity Commission. It goes to, let's have this DC that has a little bit more power.
The challenge is that you are discussing issues of a private meeting and you had a third party on a hearsay basis. Let me correct you. Actually, it's part of the process that you appear at the integrity. The cases could also be referred by the ANC to its discipline. It's still part of the process.
Now, so it's now being left to the top brass to make that decision. How does it move? The top 7, so to speak.
No. Thabo, that's what I'm saying. You're talking about activities which happened in closed doors and possibly someone...
Bring them to the front door.
No. Some of them are actually at a very confidential level and have to be dealt with until the process. Don't talk about a DC process outside before it's conclusive. I mean, before it is conclusive. That is why they say a matter is sub judice. But I won't throw that at you in this instance. There were 2 in the 4 that were mentioned that they were supposed to go to the Integrity Commission, and they appeared before on the same matters before the integrity set. So it's a question of them going to clarify that. There's nobody who defied. I mean, you saw the people who appeared, and the list. The reason why we're naming it is because there's nothing that for us in our renewal process we are not prepared to follow the entire process to ensure that we deal with any cases that are on the table.
So the analysis that says that renewal process is quite dead in the water because of the inability of the NPA to actually prosecute these crimes. And,
well, I can't speak on behalf of the NPA.
It makes
I've never seen them anywhere saying they are unable to. But remember, now you're talking government and you're talking political organization. One, I've never seen the NPA say we're unable to prosecute people who are mentioned or are in the Zondo Commission.
Well, how many have been prosecuted?
I don't know. There's quite a number of people who are going through the case. What is top? Because I may not be top. I'm top
politician. Yourself, you're a top politician. Yeah.
Well, I didn't appear at the commission.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I mean, why should I then go to the NPA if I didn't have anything?
You're asking me what is top. I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying top is a relative word. It's very relative. You can say I'm top. Someone can say she's a non-starter. The very same person. It's very relative.
But the top that we are talking about are the ones
should be,
who are also in the top leadership of the ANC. You know who are the top individuals who are implicated.
The question should be who is charged, who is supposed to appear in court, who is a top member or a less member of the ANC who does not want to appear. That should be your question. And it will favorably be responded to because each and every member who is charged appears. Others are appearing in provinces, others are appearing in high courts. They are appearing because it's a process where they have to go and clear their name and also be accountable to citizens of South Africa. So you can't say before the process has been concluded, therefore they are guilty, because it will only satisfy us to see them guilty even when they have not been taken through the process. I don't think that's equally fair.
Is that the position
there are people who have appeared
of the NEC that has led those particular individuals
it's a position of democracy.
Yeah.
You get to be, there's an allegation against you, anybody. You get to be put through a process. You get to be cleared. Simple. And there are many who appeared, who were cleared. There are many who appeared, who were found guilty. So what is the issue here? Why should we abandon the project?
Here's the issue. The issue is that you have a top 7 that decides on the list when those in the top 7 themselves, Gwede Mantashe, Nomvula Mokonyane, will be implicated in that process.
It's not true. That is why I'm saying you had something. It's a special national executive meeting that decided on the list. It's not a top 7. They are actually in the list themselves. So you say that 200 people, only 7 people said no. It's not true. A special National Executive Committee meeting extended had even members of the alliance who said participated on what the process is. By the way, you forget the guidelines of the ANC, which actually even appointed a body independent of the NEC to run, manage, verify the nominations, put them into the order that it is. And that is not a secret. It's led by former President Nkadimeng.
Yes.
So what is this top 7 now which sits and come with a suitcase
so there was,
and decide on
you are saying to us there was
people,
no, out of that extended meeting, a decision by the NEC to say, well, it's no longer the integrity commission that will decide that. It's the top 7
let me correct you. Procedurally in the ANC, the report gets to be delivered to the top 7, to the NWC, to a NEC meeting. Depending on the value and the issue of that, the meeting could be made and extended, like in this instance. That's the process and procedure. President will not receive this a report of the same, but it's an independent report. Even in the special NEC meeting, it was not even delivered by any of the top 6 members. The chair, President Motlanthe himself, is the one who delivered his own report because he worked on it. And he curtailed all the numbers and the list of people. Unfortunately, that's the truth. What is said outside is not what is true.
So the view that the Integrity Commission is quite upset at the fact that you have literally abandoned their recommendations.
What is the Integrity Commission upset about? I haven't even seen them upset. They've provided their report to the NEC. They understand the process of the NEC in terms of undertaking the report. I haven't seen them angry. Did you see them? I haven't. I haven't even seen a statement which says they are angry, the project is not to be concluded. They understand the processes themselves, which are supposed to be, some of the cases are referred to them, by the very same NEC. Some of the cases members volunteered
they've gone
themselves.
Through a process, right, and they've given recommendations. And the fact that their recommendations would have been thrown out by
there are
the
no
NEC.
recommendations which are thrown out.
Yeah.
The other are still in a batch of a process to be finalized. And the others, their case have been concluded. And that's it. There's no recommendation which has been thrown out, actually. Not even a
so you've got
there's nowhere where the
list
NEC
of people that have been included in the candidate list who have not yet been fully processed. That's what you're saying to us.
Oh, well. A legal process does not is not an event. And it does not cease to have a right of an individual being exercised as well, to be a normal human being. That's what you are saying. You are saying if there is an allegation for you at work and you are still proving that there is no, the process must not be. You must just be terminated from work. There must not be a hearing. There must not be a process which processes you. You must not be given a chance to be heard, and you must just be.
But does that not stand against the spirit of what the step aside rule was supposed to be?
But that's what renewal is. That's what renewal is.
Clear yourself.
That's what renewal is. You ensure that the cases. That's what renewal is. You ensure that the cases are put through the process. You don't influence the process for an outcome.
Yes.
That's what it is.
But here's my question.
But you don't want us to do that.
My question is, step aside, clear yourself, go through the process. And once the process is complete, then you can return.
No.
Now you are saying halfway through the process, you can still be in while the process is still continuing. No,
Thabo. I think the entire issue was saying, at the time, there was an introduction of step aside, and the Integrity Commission itself said the terms of reference were finalized. The process was then developed. Because remember, it just didn't happen that there will be a step aside. No, it's a process that jointly the NEC, when we started in our term, was also for the guidelines and the terms of reference for the Integrity Commission to have its work and its processes so that it's known when you start in the process or your name is referred there, what are the expectations to come out of the process?
And what are the expectations now that you have with those who are included in the candidate list and have still got to go through those processes?
The process of the candidate and their positions are external from what the ANC processes are. They will appear at a disciplinary hearing. They will go to the Integrity Commission if it's necessary. The Integrity Commission finally will deliver a report. The NDC will deliver a report to those who have been delivered. It's the entire process. And then the outcome is given to the person. And the ANC takes a decision. A deployment is a privilege. It's not a right. So the ANC at any given time can then be able to say, Thembi, you can be relieved in this position. Your case has been finalized, concluded, you have followed through the process. In case you also don't want to follow through a process, there's a process in which the ANC could be able to pronounce itself. Supposedly I'm deferred to the NDC and I don't want to appear.
Back live tonight here on In Focus. Right, let's continue our coverage on the build-up to the 2024 general elections. I'm with the ANC NEC member, Thembi Nkadimeng, in the studio ahead of those elections. Now, earlier on, we saw President Cyril Ramaphosa out in Ekurhuleni, and he says the coalition, in no mincing of words, is not working. Why is the ANC still stuck in this coalition when even the president of the party says the coalition in Ekurhuleni is not working?
We're not stuck. If you recall, the council had a motion, I think, of no confidence against the mayor on Tuesday or so during the week, and council was disrupted, and they've secured another council date sometime next week or this week. Can't recall the date, to tabulate the same motion. And the ANC has been clear in the disrupted council or in the council of to come that we've reviewed ourselves. You see, the ANC is 112 years old. When you may want to think when we process issues or when we take decisions, there are no processes which we follow, no. I was deployed coincidentally to a meeting that headed to listen to the branches of Ekurhuleni when they were assessing the coalition that they participated themselves in, and what do they think will be the best position for the ANC to take. And they were able to articulate broadly from a service delivery point of view on what the issues are. And for us as the ANC, our citizens, in whatever we try to do, should be the ones that come first. So when you say local government is where the tar hits, the rubber hits the tar, you really mean about the people and who you are servicing and what are the aspirations for them. It is important that you go, firstly, from a budgeting point of view, the benefits that the Constitution and the Bills of Rights engage to people. You go to a Tembisa today, you go to townships. I mean, you go from a clean audit. Ekurhuleni, in the last term of the elections, year 2020, 2021, 1920, 2 clean audits in a row to a junk status.
So the AIC says you are scapegoating them.
Who?
Instead of AIC.
AIC.
So scapegoating their mayor who, one, inherited also a DA administration that would have left things in shambles, according to them. But not only that, a historic backlog of lack of maintenance of infrastructure that you are now wanting to pin on them around water issues in Tsakani, around electricity issues.
Water is a problem everywhere. There is a problem in incumbents for every position, for every leadership. In incumbency you get challenges which you must continue to deliver. But let's go back to the 2 financial years. They rolled in Ekurhuleni under the African National Congress no less than 14 reservoirs. At least that I still recall. I was president of SALGA at the time, delivering water to its people. There was no issue of no waste collection. The grants, IUDG, were properly spent, properly accounted for. They had full technical divisions in energy, in water. They had a plan, a master plan where you just have to continue and roll on the money. Yeah. Now, what is our challenge? We are even having financial statements which are in the bag, which means I've given you money, which may not be enough. There's nobody who argues that the money the Ekurhuleni gets is more than the expectations and the needs of its community. No, the essence here is about if you then can't even account to the AG, it's a problem. You need to be able to say our master plan for our roads will take 10, 15 years. I would understand that as a community member, but I've been given this money for these 5 years or these 2 years, and here am I in the accounting structures with the Auditor General, and I'm accounting appropriately so that I get another batch for my 2 years, I get another batch. And the end goal may not be static, because there will be more people coming into Gauteng and whatever. You will still have a moving target. But you must be able to account for what you have done.
That question of account is, but you're politicizing that thing, because you know there are processes. They are saying, we raise the dispute with the Auditor General, we must be allowed to go through those processes. Same thing that you're saying, the ANC must go through its processes.
I don't have a problem.
Why are you going to a conclusion that no, these statements are not going to be given?
The statements were late, for starters. It's a red flag. By the way, they can then do a request, which is done, it's standard. I don't have an issue about. But what are we saying ourselves as the African National Congress in terms of our own citizens' charter on how to service the people of Aguruleni? Are we happy about that? Yeah. Remember, the AG comes at the end. Yeah. After the entire financial year has taken place. Did we service them to the best of our ability as the council or participating in the council of Aguruleni? Our view is that it is no. Yes, the DA might have had its own problem, but when you are sent into a position of responsibility, your first 90, 100 days, even the basic administration rule of 101 adversity tells you the first 90 days you are assessing. In the fourth month, you need to be able to come with a plan to say, look, I'm sitting in a show that has been managed by Thabo, and there were this and that, but this is how I'm going to turn the situation around. This is how I'm going to take this and make it work for this, and this is where the challenge is.
But why are you talking as if you were blindsided? Somebody say, but you went into this very clear, sober-minded, was led by Lissouf, it was led by TK, they were there. They made this arrangement. You took the slice of the pie, you said, you take 5, and we'll take you as a mayor, as a compromise
That's what a coalition is. That's what a coalition is. So who says we don't have the right to assess our decision? And that's what the issue is. Yes, and it was good that they took. And they were not doing that for themselves. This is not a Panyas or a TK thing. It was us trying to give a chance to the people of Aguruleni to continue to service them. Because we are on record to have serviced them better. And we wanted to take that chance. And like any other decision, even when it was going well, you have an assessment of how far you can go. Because you can be better than yesterday. So the assessment was not as a result that we think, no, we always do. The ANC always assesses leaders. We are undergoing assessment as it is, as we close the 6th administration, those who are in a position of responsibility. The manifesto is what guides you on what you want to achieve. So we assessed ourselves, and we are not happy with the outcome of what the issues are. And it's okay, the AIC... Remember, the leadership of Executive Mayor Mzwandile Masina was in collaboration with the AIC. So one is not judging that the AIC is not a good party or has not led. It led jointly for almost a full term to a second term where we got into a coalition. After the DA had taken it, there was a poster of Democratic Alliance, very happy that it has taken 5 out of the 8. I wonder which poster will they develop today of all the metros, because it just did not go right. And it indicates that we need to manage our coalitions better. And that's what the ANC is focusing on now. We poll, we have an experience, we retreat, we ensure that we maximize on the legislation that will make coalitions manageable. Yeah. Not for ourselves.
It doesn't
ANC,
seem, though, that proposal of the ANC of we are the party with the most wards, so we are the majority, and therefore we should have more.
It needs to be undertaken. It must be taken through the processes. It's an act. It must be taken through the processes. It will be. Democracy doesn't make everyone happy. The outcomes of democracy is just like that, you know. And we are not expecting that small parties will be happy. But the fact of the matter is, you can even look internationally. How are coalitions ran? They are ran in that way. They've got thresholds. They've got quotas on how many people a as per the ward, for example, need to be voted in to fairly be a representative. The formula that we are having today, yes, it was okay 30 years ago. Today, with the interest and the development of society, which is correct, the law has remained behind and it needs to be looked into. I mean, we have an electoral code. We're a democratic country, which will have to take that act also and look into it as to whether is it favorable to every South African who have a right to contest. And we're prepared to put ourselves into that test. So what is it about? Where have you seen a person with one seat logically leading? This is a gap of what our legislation, which never anticipated.
Well, I mean, it's frustrating. It's what you engage in when you want to. It's what you engage in,
but I'm saying this is the outcome that we have. We have a city of Johannesburg, a good and a great example. We have a city of Tshwane. Not even a small basic thing, which was just fed by Ugogo. Every day go to Tshwane, Church Square, and distribute pieces and crumbs of bread. Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think bread stays where it's dirty? They don't. They simply evaporate. They leave. Nobody will chase them. They leave. Much as no one calls them. No one owns doves. They come on their own. Right? You could create an environment where you love them, nurture them, give them water, but if there isn't comfort and space, I mean, I reside in Tshwane. You can tell me about the administration of how Tshwane is. I have got families who are residing in Tembisa.
Yeah.
And in a corner, there's debt that has not been collected for a number of weeks. Perpetually, people are frustrated. That's the outcome of what coalitions have given to us in South Africa, and we must accept that. We're accepting that as the ANC, but we're not complaining. We're saying we need to lead. We're the oldest political party.
So one would say,
we need to show leadership.
Is
There's
the
no one who
ANC
can.
Then prepared to rip the bandage? I mean, it has implications in a number of other municipalities where there is this government of local unity in Gauteng. To say, well, let's just forget about this arrangement.
You might have heard the president as well explaining, even from the beginning, when some were thinking we have fallen below 50%, we're not in majority, to lead at the 50+1 in these municipalities. They are coercing us into coalitions under their own terms. We stayed away. And the DA tried it, and it didn't work. Right? Others are moving from where the DA was, and it's just a system that needs to be stabilized so that you are able to bring better results for our communities. And the president was very clear. We are not going to participate in coalitions that don't put our people first. That is why in our manifesto today, the president ended with, let's grow South Africa together. That's the partnership we promised just on the 24th of February in Moses Mabhida. Nkata is promising something today, but I'm referring to ours on the 24th of February. The president of the African National Congress said, let's grow South Africa together. If we're not growing Eguruleni together, we are prepared to be outside. Okay. And that's the motion we are supporting, which says we are going out.
Let's wrap up on this international relations, a question of the Democratic Alliance soliciting support of electoral observers. It seems to have upset the ANC somewhat.
Well, I think it's opportunist. It's very, very, very... I mean, how many elections have we had in South Africa? Why do we have to have observers for starters? What has happened that suggests that there will be a gross violation of elections that has never happened in the 6 terms of administration? Yes, weaknesses will be there. Stations which possibly do not open on time, transportation and whatever. But we have always had credible elections. But it's neither here nor there what the DA would want. The DA must get into the elections and must get into a process of being able to accept the outcomes of the elections. We are a very democratic country. We suggested the Electoral Amendment Act. The independents went to court, and there were amendments and changes, and government never said no. If you recall the percentages and the amounts which were set initially as we were going towards public participation, didn't the Electoral Court find a different outcome?
Yes.
Aren't we observing it today?
Yes.
So what is it that suggests that there's a hand that is not willing to follow what democracy is? Why are we talking coalitions today? Did we force our hand in Eguruleni? No. We went below 50% and we accepted it. It's normal practice.
In democracies,
so that's the thing.
To ask for assistance.
Well, it's okay. That's what I'm saying. It's neither here nor there, but it's just very dramatic. John has had a hand outside the Western Cape, and he has realized that he is also dismal. I can say it. He has been unable to manage, not only in Tshwane, he has been not able to manage in Eguruleni, Ngotani, that she brought there before even this coalition that is in place. They had a hand in the city of Johannesburg, and Mashaba left to start his own action, which is not actioning. And that's the Democratic Alliance. It has had its own test. Why didn't they call for observers all the time? They moved from Mashaba to Mpo, and if you read the papers about the coalitions, all the other parties were complaining about that DA thinks is the bigger brother of all the small ones. What happened to the moonshot? Have you ever heard a lot of noise these days about the moon pact? Ask Nkata, the friends and everybody else. They just think they are more dominant. But it also suggests that what is ran outside a white person is not credible. Is not that's the problem that I have. But I'm saying to them, let them come with their observers. We'll move them at the ballot. That's why it matters.
Much appreciated. Thembi Nkadimeng, NEC member there with us this evening. In Focus continues in a moment. Stay with us.